to another video. So glad you guys could join me today. And if you're new, welcome to the video. So glad you could join me, and I hope you'll stick around for a bit. So as you guys can see, like normal, I'm starting off with the sketch, but this month I decided that some of my videos would be a little different compared to normal. So this one is basically a portrait study, but I'm using my OC as inspiration. So her name's Grace. She's from my story that I'm writing at the moment. I'll probably give you guys a bit more details on that once I get a little further into the story. I have done a major time skip with this drawing. In my story, she is a little girl, but I decided I would draw her as an adult because, well, I don't have very much experience drawing kids, so maybe I'll get into that in another video in the future. So her backstory is basically when she was young, the evil king that basically ruled their kingdom that was supposed to be hers, but the royal family was killed and she was the only one left standing, has taken control of a gem that runs in her royal family, but she wasn't able to keep it because she had to get away and therefore she couldn't keep hold of it. It's a very rough draft, but basically she's royalty and she has been hidden away for some time. So this is a drawing of her when she's older and maybe she's training to take back her kingdom. It was just an idea that came to me one day and I'm really glad I actually got around to drawing it. So I did go ahead and finish up outlining her with black. I just wanted to show you guys the part where I put in her armor. But right now I'm just busy doing the foreground and stuff like that, like I normally do. Don't need to explain that since I've done that quite a bit in my previous videos. I am moving on to the background now and just mucking around with the hue and saturation. I love that tool, it's very handy. Anyway, so I didn't really want her to be a swordman or anything, so I thought an archer would be very fitting for her character. She's fairly gentle and easygoing, but she has been training for quite a few years. Since in my story she'll be like 10 maybe a little older, and I think she's about 20 now. So that was kind of cool to keep in mind while I was drawing, just what kind of backstory she had and how old I wanted her to be. And I really like her design so far as well. It was just overall a lot of fun to draw her and come up with a design for her older character. I'll probably go and do a younger version of her at some point. This was actually a glow-up, though, a redraw of my character. She was in a previous drawing, but that was when I first started doing art, like about 3 years ago, I think. Although it was a digital portrait, so I think maybe 2 years ago. And well, it seriously needed a fix-up, so that's when I got this idea, when I went through my old art and came across it. So the other character in that drawing as well will probably get a redraw. Anyway, but though in that drawing she was a child, so I didn't quite copy the drawing exactly. As you can see, I'm just mucking around with the background, wasn't quite sure what to do there. That is actually something I want to improve with when it comes to my drawings, just backgrounds and being able to just come up with them quickly, know exactly what to do. That's something I do have quite a bit of trouble with because backgrounds aren't actually as simple. Although some will probably say portraits and stuff are harder. But for some reason, I really struggle with backgrounds. So I will slowly get better with that the more I decide to add in backgrounds in my portraits. That was something I really avoided when I did start doing art because it was very daunting. But I'm quite happy to see that I am still going ahead with it even though I don't like it. But compared to my old background drawings, it is slowly getting better. Just need to practice a little bit more. So I do start putting in the background first before I move on to Grace, because like I say in my last videos, I do like to have a light source first. Though this drawing was a little bit more tricky, although the light was more coming behind her, but there was definitely light in front of her, being that we had a forest and there's definitely going to be patches of light coming in through the foliage. So that was quite tricky. This is actually one of my first portraits in quite a long time. Most of my portraits have actually been hand drawn at the moment. I was actually wondering if maybe I should start doing a sketching a day video. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through with it. Let me know down in the comments if maybe I should do that, where I just take out my sketchbook and bring you guys along for the ride. It will probably be fun, but just let me know what you guys think. So I'm just busy tidying up the background. I'm busy adding in those fine white specks which you'd normally get in sun rays, and just busy intensifying the light a little bit behind her. Just doing the necessary fix-ups before moving on to our subject. And I also did go ahead and block in with color ahead of time, since that's a little tedious. I've got to figure out how to do that a little faster as well. I've actually just got to start painting without layers. Maybe just do it all in one layer, but that is just so daunting to me that I just don't really give it a go very much. In my old portrait of Grace, her hair was brown, but I thought I'd make her a redhead instead, since it really bounces, since it's really quite vibrant compared to the green background. So that was kind of a decision made while drawing. Right now I'm just busy adding in the eyelashes, something I'm still learning, trying not to make it overboard or anything, and trying to make it work with the shape of the eye. But I think I'm getting a hang of that slowly. I'm just busy adding the lid of the eye above the irises, something I forgot to do while adding in the line art. Also, if you want me to draw more of my characters from my stories, because I definitely have plenty, let me know down in the comments, because I'll definitely like to get round to it a bit more, since they are a lot of fun to draw. I think the one character which I'd really like to get round to redrawing is my villain. He goes under the name Damien. I have drawn him once before, but that was quite a while ago, so I think I'd probably want to redraw him as well. I really did enjoy drawing him when I did, and I think maybe I'd keep the old drawing I have, just redo it a bit more in my style. I'm not quite sure how I'd do it, but if I did redraw one of my characters, he would definitely be one of them as well. So maybe I'll redraw more of my characters in the later videos. Right now, as I'm sure you can see, I am just adding in just the shading and stuff just so I can get a base idea of where the lighting is. It has actually been quite a while since I've actually done skin tones, since most of my drawings which I've done at the moment have been dragons. That's mostly my sister though, because she really likes dragons and she asks me to draw them all the time. I've actually got quite a few that I haven't gotten around to drawing for her yet. So maybe I'll just have a draw along with one of those at some point. Just mention down in the comments if you would like me to just have you along for a dragon drawing. Though they do take a little longer than people because of their scales, and me being the perfectionist I am, I do like to do scales and just put details on every single one of them. Maybe sometime I'll have to make up a technique to not do so much details on every single scale because it can get quite tedious. Right now I'm just going ahead and doing the skin tone. I always like to start with the skin tone for some reason. I'm not quite sure why I do that, but it's very therapeutic and it really gets me into the groove. So once I've finished with the skin tone, have that finished, the rest of the portrait really flows nicely and it really doesn't give me any trouble since I already did the hardest part of the portrait. I really actually don't know why skin is so hard. Maybe it's just because there's so many colors in the skin that we really just have trouble picking them up and seeing them. This is why it's such a good idea to go onto Pinterest and find references close to your portrait, because it really just helps you grasp the idea around how many tones are in the skin. And also it's just a good idea to have a reference for the portrait you're doing so you know how you want your lighting to work out as well. So that was very helpful while I did this, and also while I was drawing the pose, I did have a reference open for a pose I liked. Pinterest is so helpful when looking for poses because it's so hard to come up with it right out of your head. I don't really know how some artists do it right out of their head. It's for me, it's really impossible. So I really recommend Pinterest for some of you that's new to art. It's a lifesaver and it really makes art less frustrating, which is really good if you're new, because you really don't want the experience to be frustrating, because then you just don't come back to it and it's not as enjoyable as it could be. So Pinterest I recommend highly, and Instagram is a good help as well. So just keep that in mind whenever you do your drawings. Just have references. Sadly, backgrounds aren't really that easy. They don't really come with references. Backgrounds are mostly in your head whenever you have a specific one as well, which makes it a little harder, or maybe I just haven't found the right reference for backgrounds. So if anyone has a really good idea for background references, do link it in do mention it in the comments below. That would be so helpful and it will be a major time saver. So I am just gonna go ahead and finish up the skin, and then I'll get back to you guys. Finally finished with the skin. It took so long to do it, but man, is it rewarding in the end once you figure it out. So now I'm just moving on to the lips. I think the biggest thing with skin is that you really actually have to stay away from the browns when you're going to the darker tones. And you need to go more towards the reds. That's something that's taken me forever to figure out for some reason. But this was actually my first time doing a portrait where I took the darker tones more towards the reds. And it's made like a huge difference compared to some of my old art which I did. So I highly recommend you do that. It's a major help as well. And skin, you just have to layer it to get the best results as well. That's what I did. I just layered it layer after layer, and it really actually worked out quite well. So now I'm just adding in those fine highlights which you would normally get on skin. They're very small, not too in your face, but they do make like the smallest difference, which is really nice as well. So I'm now just going ahead and adding in those small details to the rest of the face and, well, the body and clothes now. It shouldn't take too long. The longest part of this portrait was actually the skin. So the rest of it flows pretty easily afterwards, which is a huge relief since the skin was quite the battle and I was really not sure if it was going to work either. But that's when the saying, trust the process, comes in. And boy, do you have to trust the process. But normally it comes out quite well, and if it doesn't, you just scratch and start again. And that's really how you learn as well. The next hardest part for me was actually the eyes, because so much emotion comes through the eyes and I really wanted that to come through. But I've never really had any trouble when it comes to eyes and picking up on that emotion. So it was fairly easy, but I really did try hard to pick up that certain emotion I wanted to get through the drawing. So hopefully I did that quite well. And instead of using a harsh black brush for the eyes, I did use an airbrush instead, just to get that soft pupil in the middle, and it actually makes a really huge difference because it just blends into the rest of the colors in the eye, and it really actually makes it look really nice. And I make the light in the eye the harshest color, but I keep that more towards pink so it's not like white. And right now at the moment I am going ahead and doing her gold metal. This part was actually a lot of fun. Just going and doing the ear. I think I wanted to add some more light reflectant through the ear. Anyway, I really actually enjoy doing metal because it's actually not as hard as you would think it is. And it's actually quite easy, and it's actually, funny enough, a lot of fun to do it. So I actually enjoy doing metal for some reason. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but for this drawing it came out quite well. I think I just realized I forgot to add as much detail to the ear as it did to the rest of the skin, so I'm just going back ahead and doing that. I do tend to do this a few times when doing my art. I forget to do some parts and then I go ahead and do it. So right now I'm just going ahead and doing the rest of her armor and accessories. I add like a fine white line, almost, but it's more towards the brown, in her leather areas, so it actually looks like leather. And this was actually my first time drawing leather like that, and I'm quite happy with the results as well. It came out a lot better than I thought it would. I think I'm gonna do a lot more portraits in the future, because this actually really improves my art, where I have to do a background and I have to work with clothing, which is also fairly difficult as well, because you've got to get a different texture. It can't be as smooth as the skin. Also, there's just so much to learn, and if I just stick to one style, it's not really going to develop. And I really enjoy drawing portraits a lot more. But I also enjoy doing dragons, so maybe I'll do a few dragons as well in the future. Not sure. Let me know in the comments if I should do some dragons. Also, if you want me to do a tutorial on this video, just name the part you would like me to do a tutorial on in the comments below, and I'll hopefully get around to it at some point. I'd definitely like to hear your opinion though. There's so much I can learn, and it'll be great to teach you guys what I've learned as well. So just mention down in the comments below what you would like to know. Oh, by the way, this part was actually a lot of fun. This was really just a really big muck around. I wanted to kind of look like strawn together grass. So I really used like harsh lines and stuff, and I didn't blend them together. And zoomed out, it really looks quite good. So that was something that I learnt that was new in this drawing. And it was actually quite a lot of fun to do that as well. So maybe I will add that technique to a lot more of my future drawings. Also, if you want to know a bit more about Grace's backstory, just let me know in the comments, and I'll also try get to that as well. Her backstory is quite long, and I haven't quite figured it all out yet, but I would like to share what I have so far. In the beginning of the video, I did give you a short version, because I didn't want to really bore you too much if you weren't that interested. But maybe I can give a bit more of her backstory once I draw the villain of the story, because he really does actually have a major part in it. Basically, it goes, he killed her father, who was the king, and he took back the kingdom, but Grace and her mother managed to escape. But her mother was shortly killed afterwards, but Grace managed to get away, and she's been living on the run ever since, until our main character of the story comes across her, and he takes her in. And then, well, the rest of that I haven't quite figured out yet, because this is, of course, is in the first book of the series, and the rest of the series I haven't quite figured out yet, and maybe I will go more on it once I draw our main character of the story as well in a video. So I'll probably get round to doing that at some point as well. Anyway, I am kind of just monologuing at the moment, so I will just leave you guys to the video and drop in later. the hair is done. Grace is pretty much finished. So now I'm just moving on to the bow. That is the final section of the drawing, and then we'll be finished. This was actually a lot of fun to draw, and I do already have another video in the making where I really experiment with lighting. And well, I'll also have that one up shortly as well. But right now, I'm just busy fixing up the bow. You'll see in a little while, I do like to keep the bow realistic looking. So you'll see I do add in harsh lines to the bow to make it look like wood. And I also do that to the arrow. So you'll see I do that right now. I actually have no problem with drawing gold, but for some reason silver or stone is just a little harder and I have a bit more trouble with it. But I think I did the arrowhead okay. Not sure. It's okay for now, but maybe one day when I want to do a redraw, I'll probably do it better. Oh, also, you'll see in a little while, I will go ahead and do the eyebrows for Grace because I completely forgot to do that. So that'll be after I signed the painting. Oh, there you go. See, I forgot to do the eyebrows, and then I just suddenly remembered, oh my gosh, I forgot to do the eyebrows. So I just recorded this bit and just added in at the end. Anyway, so when this is finished, that's basically the end of the video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it and if you'd like me to draw more of my characters or just more portrait paintings. I had a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time. Until then, so long, cheerio. I hope you guys have a great day, and I plan to see you in the next video. Bye for now.